Hey class, I wanted to give you some tips for working with and managing long documents or reports, term papers, etc. These are tips that will benefit you whenever you have something, a document that you want to turn in that you want to be impressive. So I've posted some filler text. This is just a straight instance of Microsoft Word that I've started and dumped some filler text in. I'm going to use it to demonstrate some key features here. So first thing you should always do when you're working on an important document, and that I know that most of you don't do, is to insert some page numbers. So if you go to the Insert button on the ribbon, go to Page Number. I usually put them at the bottom of the page, in the bottom right corner. And there you go, you've got page numbers now, so that when someone is reviewing your work, they can refer to specific pages, which often helps. And sometimes you have Roman numerals and Arabic numerals in the same document, so the actual page, the number on the page doesn't necessarily match the count of the pages as it would appear in a PDF, or if you were just counting the pages off. So putting page number first order of business. Okay, pretty basic. Next thing, styles. Now, I know that some of you have done this as well. Let's say we've got our document here. The default Word font is Calibri, which is a horrible font. You want to change it, so you're just like, oh, whatever. I'm just going to Control A to select all, and then put everything in Times New Roman. Okay, great. So everything is all set. Now, if I'm typing, everything new is in Times New Roman. This looks pretty good. What could possibly be the problem? The problem is that now, if you wanted to change the font again, or only change the font for a specific paragraph, you would have to select just those pieces of the document whose font you want to change. So let's try to do let's give some structure to the document here. So I'm going to put a section here called Introduction, and I want that to be bold, and let's say I want that to be in Arial font to stand out a little bit. And then I'm going to call the next section Literature Review, and I want that to be Arial font, so it's consistent again, and bold. And then I'm going to do, let's say, methods and data here, Arial, and then finally results and discussion. Perfect. Okay, so I've just modeled the good outline for a scientific paper for you. I have introduction, literature review, methods and data, results and discussion. Sometimes you can have a conclusion section if you want. Sometimes you can just wrap the conclusion into the results and discussion section. But whenever I write a paper, it has at least these 4 sections. You can sometimes get fancy with subheadings, naming different things, whatever. But again, let's say I now want to change this. I say, oh, I really, Times New Roman is okay, but I want to change it to Trebuchet or something like that. So if I hit Control All to select all, and I scroll down to Trebuchet, MS. Well, now I've changed my heading fonts as well, right? Because I selected everything. So there's a better way to deal with fonts. I'm going to select everything. I'm going to hit this little eraser to clear all formatting. So it puts it back into the regular default Word format. The better way to deal with this is through using styles. You can see there's this huge pane up here called styles. By default, any text you add is given the normal style. And normal is usually used for the main body text. If you want to change all the main body text in your document, then you should change the style, because that affects every piece of text that is tagged as normal all at once, no matter where it falls in the document. So you don't have to select it. Word just knows that we've applied the normal style to a particular piece of text, and it keeps track of that. To change it, you go right click on the style and modify. I can change it to Times, size 12. And then you see that it all changes instantly. I didn't have to highlight anything. Now, if I want these to be headings, you can see that they're also built-in heading styles. Okay, and using the built-in styles is going to have a number of other benefits as well that I'm going to show you. Now, if I assign this a heading 1, okay, look what else happened. I assigned introduction to heading 1, and it shows up right here in this navigation pane, which you can toggle from the view, navigation pane, turn it on and off. I usually leave it on, especially if I'm working in a long doc, to see exactly what's going on. Literature review is another heading. I can apply heading 1, methods and data, heading 1, and then results and discussion, heading 1. If I want to have a subheading, I can put a line break here, say interesting result 1, and then I can make that a heading 2, and you can see that it Word respects the hierarchy of the headings here. Okay, so now if I want to change all of the heading styles at once, I don't need to select them individually and change them. I can just right click, modify, say I want to make them bigger, 20-point font, there you go, and they're all done. Okay, another benefit of using built-in styles. Let's say I want to insert a table of contents. So I'm on the cursor above, or the cursor's above the introduction. If I start typing, it's going to use the heading 1 style. I want it to just be normal, back so I can toggle it back to normal. And if I want to insert a table of contents, I go somewhere. I often have to dig around. References, table of contents here. And I usually go to custom table of contents, and it brings up this little window, and it tells you it's going to have heading 1 and then a tab and then heading 2 and then a tab and then heading 3. And it's going to show 3 levels. I've only used 2, so only 2 are going to show up, and it's going to put dots between the heading and the page number. I'm just going to hit OK. Look at that. I've got a table of contents. I have field codes highlighted, so it's highlighted in gray, and I can click around here, go to literature review, go back up here. I can put this on its own page here. And now, so I just move the pages, for example. If I right click and update field, update entire table, you see the page numbers change. Okay, so you don't need to create a manual table of contents. If you use the built-in styles in Word, you can have table of contents generated automatically. It's quite a remarkable thing. Even I've seen colleagues who are at my level and more advanced among the faculty who create manual tables of contents. I think that's a huge waste of time. Inevitably, the document is going to change. There's going to be inaccuracies. If you use styles and the built-in table of contents, you'll never run into trouble. Okay, other tips. You want to insert a figure. So you're working with maps. You want to insert a map into your doc. Here's how you do it. Insert. I'm going to go to Insert Pictures. It brings up my desktop here. I have this cat, this entertaining cat photo that I'm going to include here. A cat in a winter hat. I'm going to center it. Okay, cool. So whenever you have a figure in your document, you need to refer to it. Okay, never do something like this. See below for a picture of a cat. That's very imprecise. Well, you want to refer to a specific figure number for this particular figure and for all your figures. Here's how you do it. Click the figure, right click, insert caption, pick whatever style you want. It's going to be a figure. Figure captions go below the selected item. Hit OK. Okay, see I've got a figure caption there. You can style it however you want. You put a colon, put a period, you can put 2 spaces, whatever. I'm going to say a cat in a hat. Cool. Now here I can say, as you can see clearly in, and then I want to say in figure 1, there's a cat in a hat. Okay, this is a silly way to refer to figure 1 because if I put in a figure before figure 1, then this would now be figure 2. So I want a way to refer to figure 1 that is going to be linked with this picture and this caption, and that is going to update, the number is going to update no matter where I move things around. It's just going to understand where it is in the doc. So there's a way to do that. It's called a cross-reference. It's called a caption here. We're going to insert a cross-reference to the caption. I always use the keyboard shortcut to do that. I hit Alt-N, which brings up the insert pane, and then I hit R. Where's R? And then RF, right? Cross-reference, RF. Brings up the cross-reference dialog. Click the figure reference type. And nothing is showing up. I don't know why that is. Okay, so it's because I had a different figure style with all caps figure. Cat in a hat. The reference, I don't want it to include the entire caption. I usually only want it to include label and number. Okay, hit insert. Cool. You can see clearly in figure 1 there's a cat in a hat. It's gray, so it's a field code, which means it's going to update automatically when I move it around. It's all caps right now, which is not pleasant, so I can edit it if I right-click, edit the field, and then I can format to do title case. That usually looks pretty good. Sweet. So now, if I drop in another figure here, let's just do that again. Put in a cat. Oh, it's the same cat. Insert caption, figure. It's also a cat. Center these. Okay, so it says figure 1. This also still says figure 1. This says figure 2 now. To update the field codes, you can just hit Control A to select everything and then hit F9. Normally, to update the field codes, you hit Control A and then hit F9 to update. F9 is also a shortcut for Pinopto that is global, so it's overriding. So I don't think there's a way to do it all at once without hitting F9, but to do an individual field, you can right-click and then Update Field, and you can see that it updates to figure 2. Okay. So this is looking pretty good. We got some cats. We got some cross-references. We're all set. So next thing you might want to do is insert some citations. The way that I recommend doing that is using a little program called Zotero. Zotero looks like this. So here's my Zotero. I've got a bunch of citations. I have many different libraries. When you want to insert a reference into your document, you have to install Zotero. So if you go to zotero.org, follow the installation instructions, it'll create a little button in the ribbon here. Let's say I want to put a citation right here. In Zotero, you just go to Add, Edit Citation. You have to pick a style. I'll do APA 6th edition. Okay, it's going to bring up this little window. And then you can just search for whatever. So I'll add one of my papers for fun. There's one. Hit enter. Okay, and adds it in text. You can see it's a field code again. So it's going to update. And if I go to the bottom of my doc, put references, heading 1, and then Zotero. You add edit bibliography, and it just adds it. Okay, so now let's add another citation just to make things interesting. Let's see, something about public transit from a journal. All right, great. American Economic Review. So it adds there. Now, this is great because if I realize there's an error in this particular citation, I just go over to Zotero and edit it over there. Any time that I use a citation in any doc, it's going to be fixed. You can also change citation styles. If I go to Document Preferences, I can switch to the TRB style, for example, which is a numbered style, and it just updates right away. So everything super beautiful, super easy. If you want to add, if you first install Zotero, you're not going to have any references in it, so you need to add some references. So here I've got a blank. To add a reference to Zotero, you need to locate an article that you want to add. So I'm going to search for housing affordability. Here's one by Ed Glazer. Okay. Once you've installed the Zotero plugin, it adds a little thing to Chrome here. You can save to Zotero. You just click the button. And I want to make sure that my default library is selected. hit it, it saves it. If I go over to Zotero, it's here, impact of building restrictions. It's a report from the SSRN, and once you've got it, you can add it right away. So, Blazer. There we go. Bam. Easy, not error prone, I don't have to type in anything manually. It just works. Super good. Okay, so now let's go to Google Docs, do some similar stuff. Google Docs has a lot of the same functionality as Word. The only thing it's missing is really captions and cross-references, which you still have to do manually, which is fine for short papers, not so good for long papers. I hope that they add that functionality soon. You can see that you can use Zotero in Google Docs now, so that's a new thing. If you go to Zotero, add it at citation, it does this little connector thing. You pick a style again, and then it's exactly the same as previously, so I can add my same paper. There it is. Do it. And then there it is there, and I can add the bibliography here. One difference between Google Docs and Word is that Google Docs doesn't highlight the field codes, which I don't love because then you can't tell what's going on. Google Docs has styles here. You can apply them. Heading 1 right there. You can change the style. The way that you do it is you define some text the way that you want it to look. So let's say I want the heading 1 to be 24 points. So I hit it there, and then for heading 1 you hover and do update heading 1 to match. So all heading 1s will become 24-point font. To insert page numbers, you just insert page number, and there it is. And similarly to, let's say this is literature review, heading 1, etc. If you want to change everything, again, you change it here. So when use Droid Sans, then I can update normal text to match this section here, and so all of the doc becomes Droid Sans. Okay, that is your intro to long document management in Microsoft Word and Google Docs. I hope you found it enjoyable.